side down, represent your country down under. Yes, right, one of them. Okay.
Esper here with the Race 4 and 5 highlights. Race 4 put racers up against a brand new track to System 7 this year, Cargo Crisis, on Horizon's Providence platform. The race began with some rough and tumble down the starting ramp, however that was not as fatal as Blaucat 76's crash that sent Team Capcom Alpha off the side of the platform. I wonder if they saw any storm walls on the way down. Meanwhile, Novak Racing had grabbed the lead for the start of lap 2, and after some exciting crashes and skillful driving, the top 4 racers were all within 5 seconds of each other, with Blackhawks leading the pack to lap 6 when they took a head-on collision coming into Crisscross Alley, dropping them to 6th place. The collisions didn't stop there though. There was another multi-car pileup coming into lap 8 in the Crisscross Alley, and things continued to shake up, giving Czech Leak the lead till the next time down Crisscross Alley, where he collided with a flipped racer and lost the lead. Emrock's Fang, wasting no time on the opportunity, takes the lead for the final lap, placing them first with a time of 21 minutes and 33 seconds, with Novak Racing right on their tail and Lease Motorsports coming in with that 3rd place finish. Some racers putting some much-needed points on the board going into race 5, where racers will take on the BTR course in heats of 4. Things started to get toasty already in Heat 1, where 3 of our racers caught fire. Catcom Alpha, with a misplaced jump, landed upside down, putting them out of this race. Uphill Jordy grabs 1st place for Novak Racing, and Eva Ria grabs 2nd. In heat number 2, Herbie kept his lines clean off the great start he had, leading to an easy 1st place finish for our points leader. And with some explosions between the other racers, Star Prime Racing takes 2nd place. Heat 3 was taken by Lease Motorsports, who had a commanding lead throughout the race, and after Gilly exploded, SPG Racing took 2nd place with a time of 6 minutes and 59 seconds. Heat 4 was tight through lap 4, where racers were on fire trying to grab those 1st and 2nd place spots, but it was Blackhawks that pulled it off with a win with 6 minutes and 52 seconds, and Venture Origins coming in 2nd to fill out that runner-up heat. In the runner-up finals, Venture Origins got out ahead and showed some clean lines to grab their team another 6 points, and it was SPG Racing who secured their team another 4. In the finals, Punch Nomi's Lease Motorsports and Blackhawks were riding as a tight pack through that 1st lap, but coming out of that last tunnel, a collision sends Blackhawks to the back of the pack, giving Herbie and J-Script a comfortable lead on the others. Punch Nobis grabs 25 points with a time of 6 minutes and 19 seconds, with Lease Motorsports right behind them with a time of 6 minutes and 26 seconds. The leaderboard has seen some position changes, but Punch Nomis still has a comfortable lead going into race 6. The newcomer Lease Motorsports has a chance to take a prize position from one of last year's winners. Earning some points in the Lynx before heading into the finals could really help J-Script out. Stay tuned for more System 7 action.
Oh, 7 System 7 fans. I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day. Welcome to race number 6 of the System 7 presented by EQNX. Maya, how are you doing? It's been a hot minute.
It's been a while, Croncy, and it's good to see you, man. Have you been, dude?
I've been pretty good. I unfortunately had to miss last race because I had much more fun things to do. But it was it seemed like it was a banger. Race number 4, race number 5 absolutely popped off, and we had some sick results that we're going to get to see some stuff from today. But before we get into anything to do with the System 7, there was so much news this week about Star Citizen that I want to quickly talk to you guys about and also pick Maya's brain a little bit about. First off, 323 finally arrived about a week ago now. So much. So, I was going to say so much so that a sentence doesn't make sense, but this is our first race in 323, this patch that we've been waiting on for so long. How have you been enjoying it so far, Maya?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty good. It's been awesome. I think that the things that we've gotten with 323, I have really enjoyed. You know, like, obviously we were expecting things like the cargo and freight pass to come through, but, you know, like, not everything was able to make its way through, but otherwise, it's been pretty solid. I've been able to do a lot of things, a lot of cool things, and I'm looking forward to it. But, the second they give us a thing like this, like they open up the roadmap and show us 4.0, like,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for another one now.
It was 4 days after the release. They're like, "All right, guys, now we can open the floodgates." Well, in addition, 323 brought us a vehicle that we actually may hopefully get to see pretty soon in our little racing community here, which is the Mariah Pulse. Have you had a chance to hop on it yet, Maya?
I have. I've been able to hop onto the Pulse, but also explode promptly off it as well. I mean, like, it's an ordinary bike, that's for sure.
It is. It is incredibly fast. It is just barely not as fast as the Nox is, but still incredibly fast. I think the biggest thing it has going for it, genuinely, is the size, because it means we can do things like have, maybe 16 races on one of like the Arena Commander tracks, and them not all collide into each other all the time because it actually is small enough. So I'm really excited to see what the Mariah Pulse can bring, specifically the LX, the regular Mariah Pulse. Also kind of cool because it has a size 2 Gatling laser, which is
it's a bunker buster is what it is, Croncy. I mean, come on,
Yeah, look, you're not wrong. That's exactly what I expect most people to use it for. And when we say bunker busting, I assume you also mean we'll take it down the elevator into the bunker and then start shooting. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's a really cool bike for that, for sure. Also, just being able to put it wherever you want, as you said, you can like have like 3 propped up on the wall. Like, just don't get inside them until you've like moved them outside with your multi-tool. But it's a really versatile bike. It makes moving around in Gravlev accessible to everybody.
Yeah, so pretty sweet. I've been enjoying that a lot. Obviously, we have Invictus, just started up technically yesterday, 2 days ago. Time is weird, and time zones are weirder. But Invictus is here once again with a couple of new things coming with that as well. Nothing big for like the racing community, though I am really keen to get some of the MPUVTs out and give that a go and race around those in pancake mode. Every time you bring up the landing gear, it's just like flat and nothing else, which is kind of cool. So I'd love to see some of that. But yeah, overall, it's been a pretty sweet week. But let's get into one of the reasons why we're here. So let's talk just a little bit about Race 4 and Race number 5, which you guys got to see, I think, 3 weeks ago now. We had a bit of a break because we had Beacon. We've had all these events that we're preparing for. So yeah, Race number 4, Race number 5. Maya, how'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's been a while, 3 weeks, but yeah, thanks to that recap. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, like, we had that the Cargo Chasers map, which was really cool. It was very it was fraught with explosions. I mean, you called it like before you went on your break. Like, just like there were so many like hazards and like that cross section where cars can come in and through around that figure 8. Like you said, people were gonna collide, and they did. We actually lost our front runner there for a good while because of it too. But I think my favorite so far has to have been this previous race, race 5, because it was our time trial map. But again, it's one thing to see people do time trial. It's another thing to see them racing, like 4 abreast, like on that track. And the finals for that, like, which I believe Punch Buggies won, like seeing them all just like drive off the starting line and then just fall into the same line into formation. It was kind of like watching like low flying or something. It was ridiculous to see. And then we saw some explosions.
Yeah. So I mean, you're bound to see some explosions on that map. It's sort of notorious for them now, though it is at least nicer that they seem to be less explosive-y than they maybe have been in the past. So we still get a couple of good races out of it, which is great. Before we have a look at the leaderboard and we have a look at where we are today for our penultimate race, I think I'm finally using the word penultimate correctly. Let's talk about a couple of things. Yeah. First off, let's talk about AVS, our big combined event we're doing with Avenger Squadron. This is a charity event, guys. It's essentially like our fight or flight type event, but yeah, for the kids. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Like we said, now that 323 is out, this is going to be using master modes, which means it's going to be a completely different beast to any of these events that we've had in the past. And so in addition to being for charity, it's also just going to be fun to watch. Are you excited for this one, Maya?
Yeah, 100%. I might be competing. Don't hold my word on that, but I'm not too sure just yet. I might do. I've spoken to Avenger One. We might go ahead and do something. But
Yep.
yeah, this looks like a really, really cool event. Not only is it going to be one of the first like proper just tournaments using 323's private lobbies, but also it's for such a good cause. It's for children's hospitals and stuff. And I do believe that the money being raised is being raised to not only help to fund research within the Sick Kids Children's Hospital, but also at the same time, they're trying to raise money for what they call go-karts, which are these just modded stations that have like games consoles on them. And the idea is to maybe raise money for one or two of them, with one going to the Sick Kids Children's Hospital and the other one going to, I believe, the hospital of the winner's choice of the actual tournament, is what I've been told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this one's
cool.
going to be on June 8th or June 9th if you're in the dirty hours here in Australia. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time, guys. That's only really a few weeks away. We're going to have our finals next week, so not much of a break for us here at Atmo. So make sure you guys look out for that one.
No rest for the wicked.
Next up, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the merch that we've got, which I finally got to see pretty recently as well. So here you go. This is the merch that we were teasing for like all of the series and finally got revealed a couple of weeks ago that look absolutely fantastic. Myself and Maya are in these boring blue CitizenCon jerseys. This is what we need right here. I'm trying to, how do I
That's
point?
right.
There we go. So absolutely fantastic designs. You guys can get your gamer tags on the back of them, kind of like this. I think this one has it, right? Yep. There you go. Just pretend this is red. Oh, it says Croncy. So, exclamation mark merch in the chat should work for you guys if you're here on the Twitch chat. Otherwise, we will have links for you guys to grab some stuff here. Help support all of the races that we do, all of the events that we do, especially for, anytime we're doing these really, really large events like the System 7 and the Daymar Rally. So make sure you guys go check those out. Now, our competitors may not have to buy these because, as always, we want to show you guys what our competitors are competing for really next week. Next week is when these prizes go up for grabs. So in a second, we're going to show you these awesome prizes. We have some fantastic ships up for grabs. We have some merch. And not to mention the awesome trophies that we get every single year just to spice them up a little bit. So I'll tell you what, we'll look at the track first. So this is the track that we're going to be competing today. So here we go. So this is, once again, the second last race that we have for the System 7 this year. The penultimate. That is right, Maya, right? I'm really bad with
yes.
that. Penultimate,
yeah, that's right.
last?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
The penultimate race we've got here at Lyria on Whiteout using the RSI Lynx, which we've only really had for a little bit now. The Lynx only came out, I believe it was IAE last year, right? It was the first time that we finally got this Lynx.
That's right. It hasn't been around for long, but it is in fact the rover with the 2 bottles of champagne. It's a really interesting vehicle. It's a luxury touring vehicle. It came with the Constellation Phoenix as this package deal. And it's pretty cool. Really bouncy though. It's going to be very interesting to see how the racers manage to navigate through this track because of all the craters and bumps and crevasses. They're going to have to really have some good lines going through here, Croncy.
They will indeed. Now, luckily, the racetrack itself it sort of has a natural line to it, which is always really convenient for our racers. As you can sort of see, you're traveling across most of a ridge line for the majority of the track. And then we've also got these 2 little crater sections towards the start of the track that our racers have to navigate. This is very different to a lot of the other locations in Lyria where Lyria and Yella, because they're very sort of similar moons where we've tried to do racetracks before, where it's just mountainous the entire way around. So it's a little bit smoother, so a lot better for the Lynx than some of those other locations may be. We're going to be doing 10 laps on this track today. We're probably going to be looking at about a 40 to 50 minute race for our podium finishes today. So that's what you can kind of expect once we do get on the track, which, as always, our races are getting ready right now, guys. So don't worry, we will be getting to some action pretty soon. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm very excited to see what the Lynx can do. I'm very excited to see, it's a very different vehicle to all of the other ones that we've run so far throughout this season. So there's a lot more different skills that are going to come into it. A lot of our teams that have, 4 different races, so they don't just focus on one primary racer. I feel like we're going to see a lot of changes in our primary racer today. So now let's have a look at the pricing that these guys are going for over the course of the next 2 weeks. Here we go. Here it is. Speaking of the Ursa, right there in first place, we got some championship jackets. We got the Ursa Rover, and we have the lovely C2 Hercules. Totally, well, not totally off the side, but Maya, have you had a chance to check out engineering in the A2?
I have, man. I have, and it is very promising. Like what we have right now it doesn't necessarily hold a candle to the ISEs we've had, like where they talk about engineering in general, but it is such a promising start. Hopping onto it and seeing things just work, and then like, you have like your light bulbs go up and that's where that's gonna be. That's what that's gonna be. I cannot wait, man. What about yourself?
Doesn't it feel good to say Star Citizen and it just works and actually mean it?
I don't know how I feel about this, Croncy.
No, yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Well, there is the C2. I imagine not soon after we get engineering, we'll probably see the C2 with engineering. In second place, we got some of those wonderful jerseys that you guys saw just moments ago, followed by that lovely little X1 and a 400i, which is still my personal favorite daily driver in Star Citizen, the 400i.
The 400's a pretty sleek ship. I mean, I wasn't so sure about it, after all the whole 404 memes and stuff. I was like, yeah, they can keep it. It can stay disappeared. But it's grown on me too. I mean, like, it's really sleek. It's a very specific ship. But yeah, like, it's neat. Like, as all Origin ships tend to be. I cannot wait for the 600 Eyes remake for this same thing because, like, with every single multi-crew ship the CIG make, with every single, time they make a ship with multiple interiors, they get better at it, that they just managed to condense that skill set even further. So like anything after this ship is going to be ridiculous, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then in third place, we'll get some more of those jerseys, the wonderful trophy CNOU Hover Quad, which we get to see a lot of the time here over the System 7, and the lovely and the beautiful Nomad, which I just feel like I need to take out more often, honestly. Maybe I will with RSI mining being fixed soon. I might have to bring it back out, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Nomad's a pretty cool ship for sure. The hover quad, very interesting. I had some experiences the other week there with the beacon race. You may have seen me become a firework, but yeah, like it's a great pairing. I mean, like of all the ships and vehicles in the game, say what you will about the 400i and like the X1, but the Nomad and the hover quad has a special place in my heart, regardless of how many times they blow up when I try and put one in the other, which is a lot.
That's totally fair. Now, who is actually going to be the ones to get these prizes? We're in race number 6, so we actually have a pretty good idea. We'll go have a look at the leaderboard, guys, because the last 2 races did change quite a few things. First off, and probably the biggest note, is Team Punch Nobies are confirmed top 3, and they're looking at very, very strong favorites to take down the entire season. It is not surprising, Maya. This team, this is the first super team I think we've ever seen in racing, where we've actually had multiple teams come together to just make one insane team. Team Punch Nomies, if you're not aware, Team Punch Buggy with favorite racer Herbie, as well as Team Nomies, where we have Gerbo, we have Quelsa, just so these absolutely amazing races. And then combining to make a team that is just unbelievably formidable. The crazy thing
Would you
is,
call
though,
them
Maya,
a coalition or like a conglomerate, something like that? But the crazy thing is,
I do like Racing Coalition. I do like that. Yeah. The thing is, though, they are still competing against the other 2 teams that also top 3'd last year. Team Blackhawks, Team Amarok's Fang, solidifying the fact that they do in fact deserve to be here after their auto qualification from last year. Right? They are smashing it. It is crazy. So Team Blackhawks still have that chance to get into first place. Amarok's Fang can get there if they get a double, like back-to-back first place. So there's still some fighting up there. But really, as you look at these points, the fight today and the fight in a week's time is for second and third place. That's where everyone's going to be going for. Pretty much everyone through 7th has that opportunity to get into top 3. So there's a big teams there. Like I said, Blackhawks and Amarok's Fang. Least Motorsports, only 4 points out of the top 3. Capcom Alpha, only 14 points out of the top 3. And then we've got Novak Racing right on top of them as well. So these huge teams that have been performing amazingly over the course of this entire season, still have a great chance to get into the top 3. But yeah, like I said, all eyes are going to be on Team Punch Nomies to see if they can solidify an early win for the championship today.
That's right. I mean, like, I would love to say it's anybody's tournament, but as you said, their Punch Nomies are so strong ahead in the lead here. It is really a race for second and third. I think I spoke to one of the racers from Punch Nomies, Herbie, just the other day, in fact, and they were talking about how they were getting their lines like perfect for this upcoming race. Yeah, like I believe Quelisar is their driver today, so it's not going to be Herbie who won the previous race number 5 as well. So it's going to be Quelisar's time to shine. Apparently, I've heard good things about their buggy skills, so we'll see.
Yes. Yeah, Quelisar, an absolutely phenomenal racer. And then not to mention, one of the biggest things about the System 7, once we get to these later rounds, is it is really important to just try to get yourself into the top 8, see if you can get a win under your belt, so that when you do come back next season, you've sort of got that experience there that you can push for, and then you can push for those higher numbers. So lots to be developed here. The big things, like I said, I'm going to be watching Amarok's Fang, Least Motorsport, and Capcom Alpha. And Novak Racing. Those 4 teams are going to be where I'm sort of watching to see where they develop. Who is going to end up taking the 3rd spot going into race number 7, I think is really, really up for contention. So it's going to be an exciting one, Maya.
It is indeed. Also, yes, shout out to Premier Colonial. I met a whole lot of them at Beacon just last week, who are also here racing for the System 7. I met Ongaref and a bunch of others as well.
That's a good point, actually. If we can come back to us, Maya, how was Beacon?
Beacon was good. Next question.
Yep.
No, Beacon was amazing. I think that Beacon was a really, really cool citizen event. Like it wasn't an official thing, but like I think that they really did give CIG a run for their money when it came to just like how smooth everything went. It was a great convention. Pedro was there. He did a really amazing talk on just like his music and how he goes about making music. They even released a whole like album with Pedro for Beacon, like with random like StarCitizen music. Awesome. It was awesome. It was a really, really cool event. I got to try everything Belgium had to offer. It's chocolate, it's waffles, it's beer. It was a good time. I want to go again. Invite me
fantastic.
back.
I mean,
Can I go now?
as we know, it's like, yeah, let's go. Here we go. Why not? I've got $5,000 to spend. Let's do it. I'm really, really glad you had a great time. I saw all the pictures over the course of the entire weekend of just everyone having an absolutely smashing time. I saw a bunch of people wearing some Atmo jerseys, which was great to see as well. So I hope all of you out there that went to Beacon also had a really good time, because it feels like as well it's a bit of a taste test for CitizenCon, which now is only like 5 months away. Yeah, it's almost exactly 5 months away right now. So that one's coming up real quick.
We're getting there. Manchester. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like, I just have the con fever, man. Like after Beacon, I just want to go again. It's like a ride you never want to get off with conventions. And like I can barely speak a lick of French. Shout out to my man Duolingo, helping me out there. But yeah, like I still felt welcome, and it was a great event for sure. You mentioned like a bunch of Atmo representation. There was, interestingly enough, there was a bit of a Star Wars contingency as well. You know how like in some cities you have like a Little Italy and that kind of thing? There was, No Shot, a Little Mos Eisley, like in the corner with just people dressed up as like Mandalorians and stuff. People selling lightsaber hilts. It was a good time. It was a good time.
That's absolutely fantastic. I can very much get the sort of feeling of con fever. The whole reason I couldn't commentate for race 4 and race 5 was because I was at DreamHack Melbourne. Exact same thing. Just felt super cool. Obviously a lot less Star Citizen focused, but there was at least 2 Star Citizens there, so I'll take it. We're going to take over DreamHack soon enough.
That's right.
let's have a look at what you guys are going to see next week, racetrack number 7, before we start having a look at today. Racetrack number 7, this is the classic. This is our finale that we always do, the Lawville Loop. And it's really the perfect racetrack that sort of encapsulates the System 7. This one is more of a relay-style race, where you've actually got to change your vehicle at each one of our designated checkpoints. And sort of it sort of exemplifies how good people are at everything. So if you're a bit more of an all-rounder racer, this is the race for you. So we'll be using the Cyclone, the STV, the Dragonfly, and the Rover is what we'll be using for these in each one of them. And it's absolutely fantastic. I genuinely really, really love that last checkpoint as you go around Lawville on the Dragonfly is fantastic. If you didn't know, when they did redo Lawville, as well as like a little bit before that when they were messing around with the back of Lawville, there's actually like a lot more sort of ramps going into that kind of quarry section in the back, I would call it.
Yeah, I think
so it's a little
like
bit
quarry,
smoother for a Dragonfly than you would expect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the biggest issues I've seen or had with Dragonflies is when you actually do get these ramps and jumps, because sometimes, because of whatever you want to call it, right? Like if you approach a ramp too fast, you can end up, hitting the ramp a bit too hard, and not actually taking air, but like just exploding. Same with landing too. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, because I have a feeling as though maybe perhaps we might see most of our explosions there because of that, honestly. But we'll see. Got my eyes on the explosions, Croncy.
Look, they're always, it's bad for the races, but it's great for the stream anytime someone explodes. So it's always good fun.
That's right.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic one. This is going to be the one to finish it off. We'll see if we do have any views down on the racetrack at the moment as they're getting ready. Maybe just a little bit longer. Luckily, this one should be a pretty quick one for our racers to organize, as all they're really going to get is that rover out and get it onto the track. Like I said, it's going to be about a 40 to 50 minute race for our podium spots today. So not the longest race we've had, but probably the most endurance-y that we will have this season, other than this race right here, race number 7.
That's right.
How do you think it's going to go today, Maya?
Well, it is the RSI Lynx, and sadly, it is one of the more durable vehicles in the game when it comes to explosions, Croncy. So I'm not really foreseeing any explosions, but I'm sure that some of our races here will be happy to oblige.
They're going to deliberately explode just for you, Maya, I'm sure. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're on Lyria as well. There is, even though there's not actual ground fog, there is kind of like a white, the race is called whiteout, but there is kind of like a whiting out effect. It can be hard sometimes depending on where your computer thinks the weather is at the moment, where it's a little bit harder to see in front of you. That is going to come in today. That is going to come into it. Hopefully everyone gets themselves in a situation where there is no weather effects on their screen, because it is very hard to distinguish between Lyria's sky and Lyria's floor, if that makes sense.
True.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more of an issue for our race cams than it might be for our racers. but yeah, yes. It is, as you can see there, that's a really low swoop there from that Talon. That was cutting the ground. They were slicing that crater like a piece of cake. Anyway, what was I? Yes. The whiteout, the weather and stuff, the weather effects, the way they roll through the planet, there will be times when visibility is going to be very slim. And that's not just in the daytime, but also the night as well. Because, of course, when you are racing and when you are driving or moving any vehicle, and the weather becomes like this, there is interplay between your headlights and the snow. It means that having your lights out will actually be worse than just going out in the dark sometimes. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, because when it comes down to it, our racers do not want to race off the line. They do not want to get disqualified if they get lost in their 10 lap stint here, Croncy.
Yeah, but it sort of goes without saying you don't want to get disqualified, but there are definitely easier ways to get disqualified in these sorts of races versus maybe
That's
some
right.
others.
What is happening?
Or maybe it's a bit
here?
more obvious in others because you just fully explode.
All right.
So yeah, we've got one of the big things that I do love is the way that we have our sort of checkpoints measured, and this is happening right now. So we're getting a big tractor beam 32 SCU container so that our racers can run around that. I was wondering what was coming out of that C2, and for a second I thought it was an A2 bomb or something. But yeah, that is just our checkpoint. It's all okay. That one shouldn't explode, hopefully.
That's right, like a mother bird feeding her young right there. The 315p grabbing that. Box, but you know what? That the Argo tractor, I think that's its job now, isn't it? I mean, obviously you have a 315p here already, but isn't this the tractor's job?
It could be. It could be. The only problem is that it doesn't have a quantum drive, and that's a pretty
true.
Big minus
You'd have to like. Can you fit the Argo MPUV into a C2?
I was gonna say that. I'm fairly sure you can.
Yeah,
I'm fairly sure you can, especially if you put if you put the what are they called? The landing gear of the MPU VT up so that it's basically a pancake. It should fit in for the most part. Here we go. We have our little overlaid map for you guys that you were seeing a little bit earlier.
Glorious.
It's fantastic. So you can see essentially the rough line that our competitors will be going through today and all the setup that's going on there. One thing I did want to go through is who we're actually going to be seeing racing today, because as you know, a lot of these teams are not just teams of 4, but we've also got a couple of teams of 3 and whatnot. So starting off with Premier Core Colonial, the racer for that team today is going to be 1cc Engref, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And there's Engref. Any chance to get on the camera. Love it. For Garden Racing, we're going to be seeing Azon Keel, who we've been seeing race quite a lot recently and been doing an absolutely fantastic job. For Team Argo Navis, we're going to be seeing Brengen. For Team Delta Dietus, we're going to be seeing Checked Leak. Catcom Alpha, Circa Worm is going to be the competitor for today. Amrox Fang, we're going to be seeing Dark Hour 717. For Lease Motorsports, we're going to be checking out Discussi. For Novak Racing, we're going to be seeing Draco Baphomet. That is a fantastic name.
That's
for Evaria, we're going to it's such a good name. For Evaria, we're going to be seeing Hucrop. For Venture Origins 2, we're going to be seeing Isotope. Wildcards Racing, we're going to be seeing Jack and Oaken. For Drunken Turtle Racing, we've got Kratagos. Blackhawks, we have the famous Ludox. Punchnomies, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be seeing Quelsar today. And then in our last 2 positions, we've got Star Prime Racing. We're going to be seeing Renlos Malik. And for SPG Racing, we're going to be seeing White Hawk. So a lot of memorable names there from our previous 5 races. But a couple of names there that I still, I still want to see how they can perform in the Rover. Their names may not be new to me, but them in this vehicle certainly is. So a lot of experience, hopefully, to be shown today.
100%. And yeah, with Ludox here racing for Blackhawks is going to be the sole racer in that team of 4 going through. So Ludox here is a shoe-in, or at least they're trying to win their entire teammate, carrying them through and winning them some jerseys here, Croncy. It's pretty funny to see.
Yep. You do always end up with a team like that every System 7. And it makes a lot of sense. You want to first off make sure that you do in fact have extra people just in case you can't make a specific day. But in a lot of these situations, the other members of their team are essentially just like their race trainers or just there to help to assist the sort of primary racer. Pit crew, thank you. That was those were the words I was looking for. They are kind of like that, and so you will see a lot of the time that it's more the people that just help them train and whatnot. And I feel like those are sort of the 2 big sort of team styles that have come out recently, is that where you've got this primary racer and you just got 3 people helping you, versus what we now have with super teams starting to form, which I feel like we're going to see more of next year too, now that we've seen how successful they can be this year, where it's just everyone is super specialized in a particular vehicle and just smash it out. So some different approaches, some very successful approaches, especially though for Blackhawks and Punchnomies.
100% here. I'm looking through the list, and yeah, the only other team that we have where there's been one sole racer has been, of course, Venture Origins 2 with Isotope, and that's because Isotope is here on their lonesome.
Yes. Yep. which I've got to respect, because that is so tough. It is really, really hard coming into these races completely by yourself.
That is true, but again, different strokes for different folks. But man, I'm looking forward to seeing this race. It looks like our TOs are almost done here, getting this track in order. I think it's going to be a really cool one, in more ways than one with it being on a frozen moon, Croncy. But yeah, like, so you asked me before, what do I think about the race and how is it going to pan out?
Think? Yeah, how do you think this is going to go today? Yeah.
Well, I mean, in general, I mean, like, I've only spoken to a few racers because I mean, like, in my research, I mean, like, they kind of come to me and said, okay, this, that, the other. I'm looking forward to seeing how Quellisar does because you know, like, Gerbo and Herbie have put a lot of faith into Quellisar's racing, and if that's not any pressure, Quell, maybe perhaps mute the stream. But yeah, like, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. Obviously, Punch Nomis is one of, if not the team to look out for right now, being so far ahead in the lead. Will they be able to keep that lead? Will they be able to get any more points? Will they fall back? Who knows? But yeah, I mean, like, this is a whole different kind of ball game compared to all the Gravlev races and stuff. This is a endurance race with a slower vehicle, 30 meters per second in the RSI Lynx. I'm not really too sure how it's going to go. I think that we're going to see some interesting, we might see some other teams that we haven't necessarily seen too much of, like rear up here, Croncy.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I'm hoping we see a little bit of a wider spread and a little bit of closer finishes in each different sort of pack that we end up producing over the course of the track. Once again, one of the big advantages of this track and this vehicle is we're likely not going to lose wheels. We're likely not going to see explosions. So it's really going to come down to how smooth your lines are, and even in some of the sections, especially the craters that we have, the 2 mandatory craters that you have to go through, how much you're willing to cut in to try to get ahead of some of your opponents. That's likely going to come to it. Now,
that's right.
There is one thing that I do want to mention, which I have gotten the go ahead to talk about, which is next year we are likely going to have a couple of changes to the rule sets as well. So that's going to be probably some point overhauls. We're probably going to be changing how teams work in terms of auto qualifying as well. So there'll be a bunch of news about that. And if you guys want to make sure that you're there for that news, you should join the Atmo Esports Discord, which I sure will be available in Twitch chat any moment now. Anytime we have new events coming up, or we're changing the ways events work, or anything like that, we always talk about it over there, and we'd love your input every time. So make sure you guys head on over there, or head on over to our Twitter, or head on over to Instagram. I know that Crucian posts there every now and then, so just make sure you follow us on everything. Just follow us on literally everything.
Atmo Esports. It's just that. We have the branding.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely. So here we go. We've got some of our first vehicles coming out. Now, it's going to take just a little bit of time for these guys to set up. So we're only going to be minutes away, guys, but we are going to go to a quick ad break before we get this one started. And I do just want to say I do love the look of these coming out of the Hercules. So stay with us, guys. We'll be back momentarily. Race number 6 of the System 7, hosted by EQNX. See you guys soon.
Esper here with the race 4 and 5 highlights. Race 4 put racers up against a brand new track to System 7 this year, Cargo Crisis on Horizon's Providence platform. The race began with some rough and tumble down the starting ramp, however that was not as fatal as Blaucat 76's crash that sent Team Capcom Alpha off the side of the platform. I wonder if they saw any storm walls on the way down. Meanwhile, Novak Racing had grabbed the lead for the start of lap 2, and after some exciting crashes and skillful driving, the top 4 racers were all within 5 seconds of each other, with Blackhawks leading the pack to lap 6 when they took a head-on collision coming into Crisscross Alley, dropping them to 6th place. The collisions didn't stop there though. There was another multi-car pileup coming into lap 8 in the Crisscross Alley, and things continued to shake up, giving Czech Leak the lead till the next time down Crisscross Alley where he collided with a flipped racer and lost the lead. Emrock's Fang, wasting no time on the opportunity, takes the lead for the final lap, placing them first with a time of 21 minutes and 33 seconds, with Novak Racing right on their tail and Lease Motorsports coming in with that 3rd place finish. Some racers putting some much needed points on the board going into race 5, where racers will take on the BTR course in heats of 4. Things started to get toasty already in heat 1, where 3 of our racers caught fire. Catcom Alpha with a misplaced jump landed upside down, putting them out of this race. Uphill Jordy grabs 1st place for Novak Racing, and Ivaria grabs 2nd. In heat number 2, Herbie kept his lines clean off the great start he had, leading to an easy 1st place finish for our points leader. And with some explosions between the other racers, Star Prime Racing takes 2nd place. Heat 3 was taken by Lease Motorsports, who had a commanding lead throughout the race, and after Gilly exploded, SPG Racing took 2nd place with a time of 6 minutes and 59 seconds. Heat 4 was tight through lap 4, where racers were on fire trying to grab those 1st and 2nd place spots, but it was Blackhawks that pulled it off with a win with 6 minutes and 52 seconds, and Venture Origins coming in 2nd to fill out that runner-up heat. In the runner-up finals, Venture Origins got out ahead and showed some clean lines to grab their team another 6 points, and it was SPG Racing who secured their team another 4. In the finals, Punch Nomi's Lease Motorsports and Blackhawks were riding as a tight pack through that 1st lap, but coming out of that last tunnel, a collision sends Blackhawks to the back of the pack, giving Herbie and J-Script a comfortable lead on the others. Punch Nobis grabs 25 points with a time of 6 minutes and 19 seconds, with Lease Motorsports right behind them with a time of 6 minutes and 26 seconds. The leaderboard has seen some position changes, but Punch Nomis still has a comfortable lead going into race 6. The newcomer Lease Motorsports has a chance to take a prize position from one of last year's winners. Earning some points in the Lynx before heading into the finals could really help J-Script out. Stay tuned for more System 7 action.
Welcome back, everyone, to race number 6 of the System 7, presented by EQNX. And as you can see, we are just about ready to go. It's just going to be a couple more minutes as these rovers get themselves online, get their wheels oiled, get their antifreeze in there. I actually don't know if you use antifreeze on a car, but I would imagine on Lyria you use it everywhere. It's essentially just deodorant there. But yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer, guys. As you can see, we've already got almost everyone, ready to go. And what a startup line it looks like. Now, the one unfortunate thing I have to say, Maya, about the rover, not enough skins, not enough paints.
Yeah. Well, I think the
RSI
RSI Lynx, it only has 3, and I think that we have almost all 3. It's hard to make out the Moonrise, and that's the concierge one. That's like the full steel, like the chromed up one. But otherwise, I believe the Weinstein one is called Nebula, and the other one is called Moonrise, which has got like the blue tinted canopy. But yeah, I think we might have all 3, but maybe we'll see that better with another camera angle here. But yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that you can't like move or change the Nursa skins with this as well. But I guess to each their own. The Lynx is too exclusive for that, Croncy.
Yeah, there has to be, some element of specialness, I guess, added to it. You know what I mean? Now, before we get to, we went a little bit through your predictions, Maya. Before we get to mine, I just want to make sure everyone knows that we've got these awesome little sponsors. And when I say little sponsors, they're actually
little sponsors.
Fantastic big sponsors, but we have these awesome little panels here in the Twitch chat or in the YouTube description that you guys can go to for CLX, Icon, Thrustmaster, Toby, Monster Tech, all of those and in between. Make sure you guys go and check those out for some discounts anytime you need something for your new setup. I enjoy myself a little bit of Toby, you know what I mean, every now and then.
A little Toby.
Yeah. A little bit of Tobying. I'm just Tobying here and there. So, this race, as we were talking about before, this is really a race for figuring out if you're going to be able to compete for top 3 next week, right? There's a couple of teams like Team Punch Nobbies who are here to solidify their lead. We've got Blackhawks and Amrox Fang who are fighting for their 2nd and 3rd place position, more so Amrox Fang than Blackhawks. So it really is a big setup race for next week to see if you're going to get any prizes at all. And I feel like we're going to see some stuff. I do think, my first prediction, I do think we're going to see Team Punch Nomies lock it in. It is very likely, based on the math, that they'll be able to get there. There's a couple of situations, including, being DQ'd, which is always on the table, that can result in that not happening. But I think they've been strong favorites for a reason. So I think they're probably going to lock in the championship today. The big thing that I think is going to happen, though, is I think Amrox Fang have a very, very strong chance at getting themselves in a place where they can reach 2nd place next week. So a solid end finish from them today and a less solid finish from Blackhawks could mean that Amrox Fang end up taking that spot. But then we've got all these other teams. We got Least Motorsports, like literally right behind our top 3. So they as well, I imagine, are probably going to be able to get just within spitting distance still of top 3. It's really those 5, 6, 7 positions that it's going to be rough. So, yeah, that's sort of where I am. I know most of that prediction was just like the race will happen, but it's there's a lot of things that will make or break people's entire seasons in this specific race. And it looks like we are 1 minute to go, guys. So we're going to get the 1 minute countdown going, and then we'll get it going. I'm excited. We're just about ready.
All right, perfect. Would you like to do the honors coming back, Croncy, to count us down?
I don't know if I remember how to count.
I mean, I don't know how you do it in Australian, but it starts at 10.
Yes, in Australia, the way that we count down is just by chugging Fosters or something. I don't know. So yeah, 1 minute to go, guys, before we get this one started. A reminder, this is a 10-lap race that our competitors will be doing today. We're probably looking at about 40 to 50 minutes for the race overall. Some of our slower competitors may be coming in at an hour. Some of our faster competitors may come in at like 37 minutes, 36 minutes. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see what our fastest lap time is going to be today. Everything I've been seeing has been saying it's probably going to be like just below 40 minutes for all laps. So yeah, I'm going to say we'll have one person at like 39 minutes.
Oh yeah, and who's that going to be?
Me right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our countdown is going. Get excited. Let's see some hype in the chat for your favorite races in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, I'm rusty. I was still a little bit off on the timer, but we are off, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 6. Here we go. And we've already had a collision early on in the back there. No idea who that is, but it shouldn't affect them too much early on in the race here. It's really going to matter once we get into some turns. I do see, is that someone on their side?
It might be someone. That's the box. That's the turn box.
That is a box. That is a 32 SCU crate.
That is someone on their side.
Like a robot. That is. Luckily, they turned around. That's the thing. I really like that they made that change a couple of years ago where the vehicles auto-right themselves. It makes events like this a lot better so that when you do collide with someone, you don't end up just immediately like out of the race. that did kind of
at the very least, it makes them a lot more eventful than having several vehicles stuck like turtles upside down for like half a race, you know, as you look for Master Chief to flip you right. That's a good change. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So we'll get some updates coming in here as we get around some of these checkpoints, but the updated times or the closer times that we'll be looking at is when we get past our first lap mark. But you can already see everyone's still mostly closer to each other. Now, I do have some information, Maya.
Oh.
Isotope lost a wheel.
Really?
Our solo racer has lost a wheel going in circles. I imagine this, they probably got themselves on their side and then started doing the spin that I'm sure a lot of us at home have experienced ourselves. But yeah, they have apparently lost a wheel. So very unfortunate for Isotope there. But we will still be rooting for you next week. Don't worry too much. So it looks like at the moment we've got Amarok Fing, Black Hawks, and Delta Dietus in our front 3 positions.
That's right. And so far, I mean, like, where is Punch Nomi's on this right here? There's our incident report there for Isotope as well on the list. But yeah, so far, so good coming around these turns here, Croncy. It looks like we're just about heading now to C2 before going into that divergent path in the southwestern portion of the track.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do also know that we were a little bit more strict in this race in terms of our racing lines, that the racers were all made aware of before the race started and a couple of days ago and whatnot, so not to worry there. But it does mean that our racers had to be a bit more particular about how they approached this race versus some of our other endurance races where, you know, we're a lot more loose in terms of just, here's a checkpoint, you know, get to them however you can. This is a lot more straightforward. So there you go. You can see Ludox there. Very hard to see some of these other names. I think I see Dark Hour. Yeah, Dark Hour and Ludox right at the front at the moment, competing for first place.
Speaking of that line, let's have a look at that Eye of Sauron view here as we see our racers take one of either two of the diverging paths here. You can see Brahms, Onguref, White Hawk all taking that inside corner, making their way in through. We see Renlos Malik in the lead there so far, and Dikasi as well. So far, a lot of the racers are still very close together. All it's going to take is, you know, like, well, we have 9 more laps after this Croncy to really see what's going to happen. It's really too early to see who is going to maintain this lead, maintain this position in this truly endurance match of a race here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as we do start to approach the lap line, the finish line for this first lap, a big important distinction here is, you know, Blackhawks and Amarok's Fang, our second and third place currently on the leaderboards. In first and second place, Quelsar way in the back for Team Punch Nomis, way in the back. So there is a very real possibility that the prediction that I made is going to be completely off. It looks like maybe, I mean, once again, super early days. We're in, the middle of lap one, but these distances will begin to exaggerate a little bit as we cross laps. So we should be getting across our finish line for our first lap any moment here, and it looks like it will be Blackhawks, Amarok's Fang, and Delta Dietus, the first three to complete some laps.
It does seem like Ludox is currently in the lead here with, I believe, the Moonrise skin there from the Lynx. And I guess we had this whole skin theory going on. He is driving the concierge skin. You can see with the yellow tint there. There's another driver there. That's Renlos Malik taking some serious airtime as well. Hopefully landing on another rover doesn't blow you up, but you never know.
Anything is possible when you really think about it.
Anything's possible.
So yeah, there we go. Blackhawks, Amarok's Fang, Star Prime Racing, Lease Motorsports, and Novak Racing have completed their first laps, and here is a big pile of races about to complete their lap as well. So most of our races, within a minute of each other after the first lap, which is about to be expected, I feel like, on this track with this vehicle. It's not overly... it's not overly insane where you're going to start lapping people early, like you may have seen when we had our grav races earlier this season. So,
what happened to Azon Keel? Did you see their vehicle? They were just by the start line there, and they were facing the wrong way on the hill. We also saw, I think it was that car, Jaka and Dakin as well, fall backwards and tumble off the cliff before then resuming the rest of the race there. I hope Azon's doing okay.
I have information from Azon themselves in our 20 chat. It looks like Azon Kill is out, so that will be Garden Racing, presumably with a DNF today. There it is, right there. So unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. Hopefully, we find out exactly what happened there. But that is another team out. So, I mean, I think I jinxed myself when I said people wouldn't be losing wheels. We've lost a couple of wheels, Mile.
Yeah, we've lost quite a few. 1 lap in and 2 racers already disqualified here. There's Quellisar as well. We can just see them popping up there in the middle of the pack as well. But again, maybe perhaps it is one of these slow and steady wins the race situations here, Croncy.
It's always possible. I mean, we've had races like that in the past. We had races like that in this season with our very first race where we took the Dragonflies out over the River Canyon Chaos, right? Sometimes slow and steady can get you there if you're a little bit safer. Now, I think these are rovers. You can, in general, be a lot more risky with them because they are a lot more durable than a Dragonfly, for example. But
one would think,
obviously there is
these wheels pop like balloons, man. Whose birthday is it?
True. Yeah, it'll be interesting if we see all 10 laps. I wonder how many people will end up with at the end. It could also be a case, though, as well, of specific jumps. Like a lot of that was very early in the track that we've seen these issues happen. So every time we get a lap around, we'll see if we have any other issues here. I do love this shot, though, of them coming up this little mountain I think it was about halfway through the track before you head back on down towards the crater. Just looks beautiful with these guys. You wouldn't think that this vehicle is a luxury vehicle.
They must have some sort of god tier stabilizers inside, the way that it's shaking back and forth there, driving across the ice.
Oh, another DNF, this time from Checked Leak from Delta Dieter. So another DNF there. Not sure exactly how that one happened. Possibly a collision. But that we'll get the full-on answer. Yes, here we go. So collision with a checked leak from Azon Kill. No idea how the collision happened, but regardless, we have 2 DNFs there. So maybe not a wheel popping from Azon Kill, maybe some other damage resulting there, but very rough. Very rough.
This is where your repair tool and the tractor beam to ride yourself up is what the doctor ordered here, Croncy, I think.
Yep. It could come well in handy for the future. So there we go. So it's Blackhawks, Amarok's Fang, and Star Prime Racing currently our leaders at the moment on the board, and it's a bit of a surprise there. But I am kind of happy with that. I like to see a little bit of surprise, a little bit of a shake-up. It could make next week's race that little bit more exciting. While I did predict that Punchnomis would lock themselves in for first, right now we're looking at a situation where they're gonna have to actually fight for first place next week. So try as hard as you can, guys, but you're looking at a maybe a grinding teeth situation. And there we go, Blackhawks in front of Amarok's Fang, followed by Least Motorsports on their third lap now.
That's right. Blackhawks with Ludox on the wheel. They're doing some serious work on this track. SPG also there with Whitehawk, not too far behind this race pack as well. A few. I think less than a minute behind now. But look at that as they race and roll up the hill there past all these drop tires. What happened there? Like it's quite a grim scene, man. Like as they make their way round and past their fallen racers here.
Yep. All right, we're gonna get a little bit of a replay here for you guys just to have a look at as we continue watching. So let's get that one up. There we go. Look at this awesome start here with the. It's my favorite thing of the System 7 is watching all 16 races pop off right at the start. Just looks lovely.
Yeah, that initial collision at the very beginning there, you saw that vehicle, that Lynx, do a front flip and then stick the landing and keep going. What a hero here. But I do believe we do lose at least one or two vehicles here. Some cars turning maybe a bit too early, some cars not. That's a wheel rolling off right there on the outside corner as I think we lost that first racer at the very beginning. Again, commiserations, because that's you don't want that to happen, but that's that's par for the course.
Now, I do wonder what was happening with that rover there that essentially didn't start when all the other competitors started. There has been a tactic over the course of the years in the System 7, especially when, servers may not be their best at those sort of times, where some of our racers will wait to start before anyone else so they can sort of guarantee that they're avoiding collisions and extra desync, all that sort of stuff. I wonder if that's what was happening. Maybe they forgot to turn on their rover. I sometimes do. You never know. It could have happened, but... yeah, an interesting start nonetheless.
We got a trio of racers here. Croncy with Quellisar in the lead there. It looks like one just fishtailed away, but for a second, it was almost as if they were sumo stomping along the ice. It was like they were asserting dominance here, but it looks like they've established a pecking order and they're now going down this line. But again, you don't want to crash into a Lynx, as domineering as they seem to be and as sturdy as they can be. Losing a wheel out here, like crushing a gimbal. You don't want that to happen to you, because otherwise that is it. Even though you have 6 wheels, sadly, redundancy is not what the Lynx is known for.
Yes, exactly. Not to mention, I do think one of the best things about this track and this vehicle in particular is it really just shows how drifty these rovers can be sometimes, just going every which way. Now, we do have a leaderboard up here. We have had a couple of inconsistencies that we are making sure get fixed there, guys. But one thing is for sure, we are mostly sure that we do have Blackhawks up there in the front, and that's because we can see them down there. We've got Ludox and Dark Hour right there at the front as these numbers come in. So no, Punch Nomies did not just complete a lap in 3 seconds, as amazing as that would have been. That unfortunately didn't happen. So, but yeah, you can see right there down the bottom, Ludox, Dark Hour, and Ducasi right on top of each other, racing towards their 4th lap.
That's right, and doing a good job of it. These guys have been... Whoa! Look at that! Is that going to be...
Lovely air.
Let's see, what kind of damage is this? Because, man, they're just flipping around the place. This does not seem safe, and it looks like one car is now going to have some time here to pull away, and sadly, this one here is going to be left behind. But was...
if this was the fight that we were watching between Ludox, Dark Hour, and Ducasi, then that's going to be huge. That's going to be a big issue for them. But, still plenty of race to go, as we're well aware.
That's right. Coming now round, I believe this is C1 of the next lap, as our races now move on into lap number 4 here.
Yeah, so Amarok's Fang 13:26, Blackhawks 13:28, and Least Motorsports 13:34. A nice little tumble down the hill. Hey, sometimes it gets you down there as quickly as you need to. So totally chill and totally okay.
Wrong manufacturer. These are RSI, not Tumbril, but there you go.
Damn you, Maya. Lovely.
Now,
So there
I
we
do
go. We
have a
have Draco
question,
Baphomet, a
Chauncey.
lovely. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, so like we've seen, and maybe perhaps we'll see here with Draco Baphomet as well as they roll down this hill, that the Lynx unfortunately seems to have an issue here with this moon of about like 0.35 Gs, I think it is, of just
Mhm.
tumbling down these hills. Is there anything
Yep.
that you think these races can do to like maybe perhaps avoid this? Like with this particular decline here, it seems like Draco is avoiding that, but what we've seen before, has been pretty precarious at best.
Yeah, so it sort of depends on how you actually approach a lot of the descending sort of a lot of the hills as you come down the hills, right?
Right.
The rover is prone to drifting, and so when you're trying to get the best corners as you're coming down them, you still may end up yourself just drifting that ever bit too much. It's going to push your center of gravity over, and then you'll start tumbling down. So you can avoid it, but it's kind of hard not to. And a lot of the time, you won't lose an insane amount of time from doing the tumbling, so you can sort of afford to try to cut it as much as you can. But you do want to make sure that if you are doing it that risky, that when you are going to do that tumble, you're going to land like forward facing, as we've seen a lot so far in today's race. People have been doing the tumbling and then they've got to completely reorient themselves to the track.
Right. Looks like Ludox is still here in the lead as they make their way down the western section of the track here, rolling down this hill, tumbling, if you will, as well. It seems as if this pack of four have remained steady and steadfast this entire time, with Ludox just a few seconds ahead this entire time.
Yeah, here we go. We can see right now. Well, I say we can see, but it's very hard on the Lyria surface. But we can see right now Dark Hour, Decassi, and Whitehawk. Right on top of each other here, right as they come for this fight. So yeah, it also looks like we may be seeing our first lapping in just a moment too. I think the front pack are about to lap one of our later races.
That's right. We do have quite a few vehicles still in lap 3, including Punch Nomi's Quellisar as well, proving both of us wrong. But it looks like we just had a DQ here. Draco Baphomet has been disqualified. I imagine perhaps that might be from diverging too far from the line there, Croncy.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, we do have a little bit more of a strict line thing where essentially we mentioned to the racers earlier that the craters that we have designated are much more strict track limits. Thank you very much, producer. I've been really bad with words. A lot more strict track limits for these races, so these sort of things then start to come up.
That's right. I mean, there's a bit of give, 10, 20 meters, but at the same time, you don't want to take a completely different chicane, different. Oh no, Quellisar from Punch Nomi's is out. This is quite the upset. So, as you mentioned before, Punch Nomi's are a shoo-in for the podium here, but now allowing Blackhawk and Amarok's Fang to get 25 plus points now and almost meet them here. It's going to be a lot more of a tense battle towards the end for race 7, Croncy.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. So, like I said, they should still be on the top 3, but it sounds like there has been a collision of sorts that has resulted in the DNF. So, very, very rough for Punch Nomi's, but they were in a comfortable situation coming into today's race. So they'll be grinding their teeth a little bit next week, I think, but they'll be able to come back extremely strong, I imagine. Blackhawks, right. Least Motorsport, and Amarok's Fang now in their lap number 5s.
All right, which means that we are now halfway through. But yes, Punch Nomi's came in here, as you said, pretty comfortable, but sadly they're not going to be in the lap of luxury all the way through, even in these Lynxes.
Yes, exactly. So halfway, or a little less than halfway, because they've still got to actually complete lap number 5, but essentially halfway through the race so far, guys. We've got Amarok's Fang, Least Motorsports, and Blackhawks in our top 3 positions, though Star Prime Racing also in that front pack there, as you can see, sort of in the top right-ish of your screen there, or now towards the middle. Ludox, though, with quite a big lead over that pack, so it's going to take a lot of pain for the teams to make their way back in there. Star Prime Racing, AAWA, Argo and Navis, Premier Core Colonial, and Wildcards currently on their 4th lap. And then once again, we do have a couple of issues with the leaderboard at the moment, so not 100% sure exactly where Catcom, Alpha, and SPG Racing are positioned at the moment, as we've also had a couple of a couple of lapping, although we do now have a look at Renlos Malik, who is upside down like a turtle. That's not what you want to be. There you go. There's the flip. We're okay. We're okay.
All right. He's a-okay, folks.
So yeah, it does sound like Quelsaw lost control of the vehicle. So yeah, very rough for that DNF earlier.
Indeed, but the race carries on here, Croncy, with Blackhawks in the lead so far. But yeah, a very clean race so far, Croncy, all things considered on this moon. A bunch of vehicles have been taken out of the equation here. A lot of wheels being lost. I'm sure a bunch of folk are going to have to ring up RSI customer support after this. But regardless, it's been a great one so far.
Yeah, it's a lovely race, especially one to watch for sure. Great race to watch. So here we go. Officer Rondog giving us those fantastic views of, I think, Ludox, possibly at the moment, our leader, who is, as we mentioned earlier, a fair bit ahead of that front pack. So avoiding any mishaps for the rest of the race, should be able to lock in at least a podium spot for today's race.
That's right. Now, about the race and the vehicle of choice here, Croncy. Obviously, this is RSI's Lynx, it is a Rover, but how do you personally feel like it's handling the track? Do you think that it should be heavier? It should be a bit weightier coming down on this track? I mean, are you happy with the overall tuning of the vehicle, you think?
I am, for the most part. While we are using this vehicle in a race, it itself is not a racing vehicle, and so the fact that it does have it still has its weight when it drifts, which you would kind of expect. But then, of course, we're on Lyria, so anytime it does, it's gonna get air, regardless of how weighty it is. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I think it is a good vehicle suited to this track because it can show a lot of skill. So very excited for that. Now, a big development, that I've just seen. Dark Hour has crashed and died, it seems. So we're going to see a DNF from Dark Hour as well. So that was one of our front running teams. So
that was indeed.
Yeah. Huge.
That is gonna be a dark hour
Fang,
indeed here, Croncy, for Amarok's Fang, exactly, because they needed this in order to pull some much needed points to pull themselves ahead. They are currently sitting in 3rd place with 48 points, now coming through with only 1 point potentially at 49. I think all eyes are going to be on Blackhawks now. Should Blackhawks pull through 25 points, they're going to be in a really good position for race 7, Croncy.
Yeah, that's huge for Amarok's Fang. They had a chance of still being able to take down this entire competition if everything went right. And it seemed 2 laps ago, everything had started going right. Unfortunately, now that'll put them out of that. They will not be in first place contention, but they're still going to be fighting for their life for podium. And that's massive. Once again, Amarok's Fang was one of the 3 teams that auto-qualified from last year. And it would be a shame if they can't solidify themselves again this year in the top 3.
Look at this graveyard of wheels, Croncy. There's more wheels than
that is a lot of wheels
down there.
I think that was all of the wheels from 2 different Lynxes.
Oh, wow. That was in Mortal Kombat, when you do a fatality and somebody sheds 6 rib cages. That didn't seem right.
Yep. So there we go. Blackhawks and Argo Navis now in lap number 6. So yeah, that's an interesting development too. Argo Navis were a little bit further behind from our front runners a little bit earlier. There's another little bit of debris that we've got on the track. So many of these Rovers. They are more survivable. They are more survivable than these vehicles would have been 2 years ago. But I am surprised that it has been this rough today.
I'll tell you what, though, Croncy. I mean, anybody with a Vulture after this is going to be, this is prime, RSI hull right here. Luxury RSI hull just littered around this place. It's easy pickings here for some good REM or RCM.
I did hear that wheels are worth double. That's what I heard on the grapevine. I do hope we get into a period of time where we do get to replace wheels for these kinds of events. Obviously, the DMR Rally would be where it would specifically excel, but it'd be great to see these sort of situations where it's like, all right, well, losing a wheel is a risk on this particular track, this particular vehicle. We've got some spares in the back. Yeah, it's going to cost me 20 to 30 seconds to replace it, but at least I can still jump in and do it, because it also, I imagine, would mean we'd get a lot of racers taking some riskier lines. And I think I was right, by the way. I think that is 2 Lynxes worth of wheels as I look at the 2 Lynxes there.
Oh no!
But yeah, hopefully that's something that happens sooner rather than later, because I would love to see more of that integrity come into these kinds of competitions.
Yeah, I mean, the wheels themselves, another prospective victim here. But the wheels themselves are just components at the end of the day. I mean, like, yeah, they have all that machinery behind them, the axle and everything else. But as far as the game is concerned, I mean, like, that is Ren Lost Malik right there. But like,
spinning around again.
As far as,
that is the second time that we've seen Ren Lost Malik upside down and then get back to it.
Bit of a pro at it seems. But yeah, I mean, hopefully at some time we'll be able to get like the multi-tool out and just reattach a wheel at will. But who knows what CIG wants to do? If you played Space Engineers before, you'd have to get something out, get a blueprint out for the axle, everything else before you put the wheel on. It really depends on how deep CIG wants to go. But this is CIG, so they'll likely go as deep as possible,
All right, guys, we've got to go make sure we collect all of the carbon, all of the iron, all of the...
Oh, have you seen the engineering deep dive documents from 2014? Because that's pretty much on the money. Anyway, I think
hopefully not in the middle of a race, though, Maya. Hopefully that's not how we have to do it.
True. Well, that's what your pick crew is for, Croncy.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get them all scavenging for items. So we're approaching lap number 7. We got Blackhawks, Catcom Alpha, which has been updated now, so awesome to see that. Drunk Total Racing and Argo Navis in their 6th laps. So it looks like we're going to be looking at, about the 40 to 50 minute rough time for our races. But we only have just over half of our races left in the race.
That's right. Again, I mean, this is almost like with us just being over halfway through the race now. Look at that rough and tumble over there, man.
Yep.
But this is almost a mirror image of our first ever race of the System 7 this year, where we lost all but 2 racers. Although that was with Gravlev bikes, and so we were kind of expecting it. The Lynx, on the other hand, I mean, this is a very interesting turn of events. I don't think any of us were assuming here, Croncy.
Yeah, I mean, even during practices, everything I was seeing was, it was going to be pretty solid. Very little chance of this sort of stuff happening. Now, obviously, it's a very different environment once you get into a race, and once you get, we have all international players at the moment in the one server, so pings also come into it, all that sort of stuff, that it can change the dynamic. I don't think any of us were expecting it to change this much. And so I imagine a couple of laps ago, a lot of our racers sort of maybe changed how they were doing their routing through some of these canyons, or maybe being just a little bit safer near other competitors, although, sometimes, like I said, with ping, it's unavoidable. I've definitely had experience with that. So yeah, hopefully we see more people compete. I don't think this is going to be a repeat of race number 1, mostly because race number 1, I think halfway through the race we had 4 people left. So
True.
We're at least past that. We've got a lot more people still on the track. Yeah.
Just so, but we got 3 laps left. Blackhawks now the only vehicle currently in lap 7 right now. 3 more to go for them. Looking good so far, and they are again one of our teams that really do need these points if they want to hit that podium hard and give Punch Nomis any sort of competition on next week's race.
Yeah, not to mention, once again, Blackhawks, a team who qualified from last year. If they do win this race, they will solidify themselves a podium position, and also be in big running for first place today. And they wanted that. It's awesome. Like, it's really, really cool when you're a team that's able to qualify every single year by just being, one of the 3 best teams. And so, yeah, if we see a finish from Blackhawks today that wins, big fan. Big fan.
That's right. The race keeps going on, though, and it looks like I'm not sure what happened there, but let's have a look and see which vehicles we are following. That's 1cc Ongurev over there from Premier Colonial. And whereabouts are they here on the track? It looks like they are one of our pack in lap 6 at the moment, sitting pretty far.
It's times like this I wish I had the orange arrow set on our cameraman.
Yeah. But at 6th place, that means that currently they're standing to win 4 points to move on into the next race. Anybody up until, I believe, 8th is able to secure some points going through. And once again, first place gets 25 points. That's right, yeah. First place gets 25 points, second place gets 18, and third place gets 12. It gets dramatically lower after that, but yeah, so far Blackhawks in 7th place here, or sorry, in first place on lap 7. Yeah, stand to get at least 25 points.
Yes, exactly. I wonder how much spilled champagne there's been in these vehicles.
Well, I mean, so inside every Lynx, I do believe there are like 2 bottles of Vestal water, but there are also champagne glasses. I don't know if those fall. I think those are like they have the RSI luxury charm here. I mean, it's not quite Origin, but I think maybe there's like mag plating or something on the champagne glasses.
That's like own a planet rich fancy. For sure.
Indeed.
So here we go. This is about the halfway mark for this lap. So yeah, Blackhawks, Catcom Alpha, Drunk Turtle Racing, and Argo Navis on their 7th lap. Now, Maya, this is going to create a really interesting dynamic next week. As we said, Team Punch Nomies, while they are confirmed top 3, regardless of what happens next week, now have to fight. Well, assuming Blackhawks win today, we'll have to fight. Blackhawks gonna have to fight. Amarok's Fang gonna have to fight for 3rd after today. They're gonna drop some places, it seems like, which is gonna be really rough. Least Motorsports, as a reminder, we're right behind Amarok's Fang at the end of last race. So they're gonna be super, super happy for whatever position they're able to pick up today, as long as they are able to finish, I imagine.
That's right.
We were talking about as whatever happens today, as long as it makes next week interesting, is going to be a great day, and that's exactly what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening right now. Least Motorsports is sitting in 8th place, which again means they're going to get 4 points, which will mean that they're going to draw. They're going to tie here with Amarok's Fang at 48 points. No, in fact, Amarok's will get, I think, 1 point for participating, or is that incorrect? I think you only get the 1 point.
They should, yes.
Okay. Yes. So it's going to be 48 for Elise should they finish in 8th place. But yeah, also should Blackhawk come in first here, Croncy, and again, maybe perhaps we're counting our chickens or our Lynx wheels before they're detached. Should Blackhawk come in first place here, that's going to have them with 89 points, which will mean that they will actually be starting race 7 ahead of Punch Nomies.
Yeah, not by much, but enough that
much, no.
It's sweaty. It's going to be sweaty next week.
Indeed.
So Blackhawks and Catcom Alpha in their 8th lap now. So probably only 10 minutes-ish left for those competitors as they go around. Now, an interesting thing, we were just talking about Least Motorsports, and we've been having some issues with the leaderboard today. So we'll see what happens.
Oh no! You had to say their name 3 times in a row. You did this.
I cursed it. Least Motorsports with a DNF, unfortunately. We'll find out exactly why that DNF applied, ladies and gentlemen. Oofed is kind of all I can say. We were hoping they could get a better finishing position today. to get them, in front of Amarok's Fang. Now that still means we're going to have a lot of people fighting for third place next week, but very rough, very very rough release.
That's right. I mean, the difference between first and second place points is 7. So it shouldn't matter too much for them because they are still 4 points behind, of course. My apologies. They're still 4 points behind Amarok's Fang. So should they move on into this next race 7, I mean, they'll still be 2 points ahead should they come in first. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now, I do have to say, we should give an award to one of our competitors, which is Renlos Malik, who apparently flipped again, but then got flipped back. I think most flips is deserving of some points, don't you think, Maya?
A Golden Turtle Award.
Look, sometimes you're just, you're pushing the rover as much as you can, and it gets tired and just needs to rest for a little bit.
It is what it is. But yeah, so far so good. It looks like we have 7 racers now. We are way past half our racers now out of commission here on the unforgiving ice here of Clio, which is interesting to me again because the track itself seems rather quite unassuming,
Yep, just remember it's Lyria, not Clio.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to... Yes, of course.
This guy.
Don't want to. Yeah.
The
Sorry,
the
Larry,
trick is it green? Is it green? And is there no atmosphere? That's when it's
okay.
No. Now I'm messing
green
it up.
Green is Walla.
No, Cleo...
green is Walla with the chunky.
Cleo is the one from. There's too many moons. CIG, there's too many moons. Can we get rid of some? All right? We don't need all of them. Blackhawks, lap number 9. You can see it over there on the right side, just in front of Brengen, who they are lapping at the moment.
That's a close
but yeah,
one.
our first one to get past 9. There you go.
Yeah, we both been moon shamed here today.
Look, there's only so many roughly icy moons that we can try to remember.
Oh, man. But yeah, regardless, here we are on the moon, and yes, well into lap 9 now. One more to go for Blackhawks. Catcom Alpha right behind them in second place here, still in lap 8. Oh, so who's right behind them? Is that that's Drak Khan? It looks like right behind Circa Worm.
Yep. Yeah, so a big fight happening here as well. Also, SPG Racing are still there. There we go. They're fixing up the leaderboard for that one now, so don't worry too much. We'll get that one updated for Whitehawk. Some insane 3.5 second laps there, activating the boost. Look, they took it away from the Cyclone RC, but they gave every Cyclone RC's boost to SPG Racing. So that's all getting updated now. As a reminder as well, with the end of all of our races, we do make sure that everything was above board, that all the times were accounted for correctly. So if at the end of the day there has to be any changes, you'll be able to see those over on our Discord and when we post up the official results on Twitter or X. Which I will never call it. But if you want to go check it out there, make sure you do follow Mo Esports.
Yes, which you'll never call it. And apart from that one time where you may have just done so. But regardless, here we are. Let's longer up taking some air on into their next lap. I think that's 1cc now rolling into a lap 8. I think Blackhawks now should be well on their way into lap 10 momentarily now. But here we go. This is 1cc. Man, I was at Beacon. You know how 1cc always in the chat here, they go 1cc. Oh, I thought it was the 300 chant. It is the 300 chant, and they did it so much. Man.
I love it. One of the big orgs that I've gotten really, really excited for over the course of the System 7 is Premier Core Colonial. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fantastic. A huge team that they come to support every week. It's awesome.
Yeah, 1cc is a vibe. I appreciate them.
Yeah. So Blackhawks currently in the lead. SPG Racing and Catcom Alpha also on lap number 9, although I do believe that Ludox is far ahead at the moment of SPG and Catcom. AAWA Drunken Turtle Racing also now in their 9th lap.
All right, current standings now. Ludox in Team Blackhawks now. In first place, Whitehawk representing SPG Racing. In second, Circaworm with Catcom Alpha. In third, as they make their way through lap 9, one more lap, Croncy, separates these guys from some well-deserved points.
Yeah, definitely. Look, look at everyone is now over on the right side in the ships. We've gotten a lot less people to keep track of on the track. And there we go.
Oh.
We were just talking about them. The curse of the commentator continues as always. Premier Core Colonial with a incident, a DNF, a game crash, interestingly enough. So that not an issue of a wheel. We've got a game crash, unfortunately.
That is unfortunate to see. I mean, like, that happens to the best of us. But again, when we do race here with the System 7, we do so with the knowledge that we are racing with the game in its current state, and anything can happen. You know, like competitive integrity and all that, and having a race that will avoid issues like game crashes as much as possible, and just getting into the meat of who is the best racer. That comes later. For now, you know, like, we take all these things in this stride, Croncy.
Yeah. So we just crossed the 40-minute mark. Maya, we're approaching the end. Blackhawks in the final lap of the day. Looks like they're going to lock up first place here today and, push themselves into the front of the leaderboard.
That's right. And, I think that's going to be a rather short race, all things considered. I think for the ones who were able to make it their way through without, sudden death. But here we are. Who is this? This is Whitehawk 24 now, representing, I believe, Catcom Alpha here in third place. Sorry, SPG Racing in second place even.
Yep. We've had some excellent work from our cameramen, as always, or camera people, as always. We always have fantastic work from those guys that we get to see. Just some awesome shots, especially earlier when we had that sick shot of the three rovers getting some air about halfway through the track. So as always, thank you guys for getting us some good videography.
100%. I really want to hop on the server after this in a vulture and just plug away at this graveyard.
Look, I still haven't recovered from the wipe, so I might have to do the same thing, Maya. I don't need a little bit of myself some rover money.
That's right. Speaking of like money and stuff, it does seem as if a lot of things have changed price-wise in the game. I think the Pisces, the medical Pisces now is, I believe, like 500,000 Alpha UEC. It used to be about 3 million. And I wonder how much the Nursa is going to cost, considering that it's not just a rover. It also has like a mobile respawn point to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff is going to change over the course of really the next couple of years. As first off, we've got an economy team. We've had them for almost a year now, and they've been recently actively working towards making sure the economy is a thing. And we've had so many game-changing mechanics over the course of the last few patches. And obviously, like we talked about at the start of the broadcast, 4.0 is the next target. That has a lot of game-changing mechanics as well. That all of that stuff is going to change the economy. So, yeah, I imagine we're going to see lots of changes. I have no idea what's going to happen with the Nursa. I have not a clue. But if the medical Pisces has gone down in price, then I feel like possibly we might see the same thing with the Nursa. Obviously, it doesn't. It's a ground vehicle. It doesn't have a quantum drive, obviously. That means that it is a lot worse than those vehicles. So I wouldn't expect it to be crazy expensive. As well as you have to be able to move it around in some larger vehicle, right? You have to take, a Hercules or a Carrack you probably wouldn't take a Carrack.
It's in my Valkyrie right now.
But you know what I mean?
You need work in there. Yeah. All right. So far,
Drunk
so
Turtle
good.
Racing also in their 10th. Go ahead, Maya. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm not sure who we're following right here in this. I believe this is another concierge links right here. But we have just a few more moments until Blackhawks crosses that finish line here.
Fantastic. Well, just before we see the finish line, we've got a quick little replay that we're going to have a look at, guys. And we have a DNF from SPG Racing, unfortunately. We're going to find out what happened there as well. On their last lap. Very, very rough. So here we go. We got a replay. It looks like it was another lost wheel on the last lap to get a lost wheel. Very, very rough.
That is unfortunate. So is this the replay of it happening right here? When does it happen? Because I'm very
unfortunately, I think we missed it.
We just missed the wheel.
Good.
So it seems as if in that case that it lost the wheel just going on that straight, which is unfortunate.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens.
Now we need engineers sooner than later. It seems we need to have like proper pit stops. It seems, Croncy.
Or alternatively, you need someone to hop, like, to just be standing on top of the rover with like a repair gun, just ready to go.
Yeah.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ludox from Team Blackhawks crossing that last finish line. Fastest lap with a 4:26. A fantastic effort from Blackhawks there, solidifying themselves right now, guaranteed top 3, but especially now they are not only in the fight for first place, they're actually going to be leading the pack today. So I believe this is the first time across the entirety of the of the series that Team Punchnomies won't be in first place.
That's right. And
no, they lost. They lost the first race, but for a very long time. It's the first time in a very long time in the series.
Because it was a twin races, wasn't it? It was a pair.
What even is first race? No one knows. But yeah, it's going to be a big upset. But once again, it is a huge development for next week. A massive development.
Massive. I like your choice of words, Croncy. It will be a massive indeed. And yeah, I mean, it is also like one of the more fun races too, with a relay of several different vehicles. It's not just the mastery of one, but a whole bunch, a range of vehicles, concluding in, of course, starting from one, from I believe Perimeter Gate 1 all the way back to 1 again. But here we go. There is our race winner standing pretty.
I was really hoping as they would park, they would lose a wheel or something. Oh, we have another late DNF, this time from Juck and Oaken. Very unfortunate there. So that's another one out as we get towards the end of the race. Now we only have 4 teams remaining on the track as Blackhawks are there. Make that 3 teams as Circle Worm crosses the line. Fastest lap, 4:26.638. Once again, we did have the issues with the leaderboards. Some of those times may be inaccurate, but that's kind of what we were expecting to see today from some of our top races, is around that 4 minute 20, 4 minute 30 mark. So a fantastic effort from Capcom Alpha, securing themselves a second place position and another 18 points.
That's right. 18 points are going to be pretty big. Again, like, all these guys are fighting for that podium. And with the massive upset we had earlier today with, of course, so many of our leading teams here, like, falling out, this is going to allow so many more to be a little bit more hopeful coming through into next week's race, Croncy.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the big things as well, right? Yeah, Capcom Alpha were one of those teams so they were in 5th place. They were just behind Lease Motorsports before today's race, sitting at 34 points. So them getting 18 points puts them in a fantastic spot to try to stay in the top 3. Now, my quick math is not great, but I do believe with who we have remaining that actually will put them 3rd. But like I said, right. My quick math is not great there, but we'll see soon. That's huge. That's a massive development for Capcom.
It's going to be huge, especially when next week we have such a slew of different vehicles. So is it the Ursa Rover or the Nursa next week? Do we know? We have the STV too,
Rover.
Which
Rover.
Yes. Yeah, and we have the STV2, which we have seen in Race 4 also. It's not an immortal vehicle. None of these vehicles are. So it's going to be a very, very precarious, I think that all teams are going to have, it's going to be a white knuckle moment for sure, Croncy. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Drunk Turtle Racing are going to be our 3rd place finishers today, getting themselves on the podium and securing themselves 12 points, which is going to put them. That's their first big finish of the entire series. So well done, Drunken Turtle Racing. A huge performance there in the Rover, which I was kind of hoping to see, as I had mentioned earlier. Some of our lower sided teams, some of our bottom 8 teams, put in a bunch of work, and that came through. So well done, Drunken Turtle.
Slow and steady wins the race for Drunken Turtle, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we've still got Argo Navis and Star Prime Racing on the track, finishing themselves up, crossing all of the broken Rovers.
The graveyard.
Plenty of wheels. So the
Whatever
obstacles are not over yet. You're still got to be careful.
No. Yes, I mean, like, the players do become the obstacles over time. So what was this track? The Whiteout? I think that it's
yes.
That name is old news. It's now called the Lynx Graveyard, man. I mean, like, it can't be anything else right now. This is where luxury comes to die.
Yeah, look, I like this track in general, so I think you're 100% right, Maya. I think we rename it. I think we reuse it, and we rename it the Graveyard.
That's right. And keep the rovers
even for
as well.
flavor. Next time we come here, we just put some like pre-damaged rovers just on the track as obstacles.
Exactly. All right.
So yeah, not much longer to go now, ladies and gentlemen. A quick thank you to everyone who's been watching today, by the way. We appreciate it a ton. Hope you enjoy the System 7. It's certainly my favorite racing series that we do here at Esports. And make sure you congratulate everyone who participated today. It's always good fun to watch these guys come out and, put all of this to the test.
That's right. Thank you again to our primary sponsor, EQNX, as well as CLX, Icon City, Thrustmaster Toby, and Monster Tech. You can find more information about all these guys in the description on YouTube, but also in the panels below on Twitch TV.
Yep, definitely. There we go. Brenjan from Argo Navis finishing. Fastest lap for them was a 2:48. They're going to lock up 4th place today, which should be pretty solid for them. And they work towards our bottom 8, grab themselves a couple of points, and put them towards, at the very least, a strong finish possibly next week.
That's right, which leaves just the one racer left on the track, Ronzi, to finish this whole thing up.
Yep, just Star Prime Racing, which Renlos Malik, aka Flippy McFlipperson, got to see. Probably the one racer who had to recover the most today, which was kind of cool to see. We will get confirmation of that, though. As we said, we did have some issues with the leaderboard, so it's very possible Renlos has already finished. But yeah, a fantastic race today. Blackhawks, Catcom, and Drunken Turtle Racing are going to be our podium for today. It's going to be really interesting. We've said it like 9 times already, because we kind of... The writing was on the wall on the first lap of that this was not going to be the race that at least I had predicted.
I don't think anybody anticipated this race being the way it is, man, at all.
Yep. Yeah, and not only that, it seems like there was sort of towards the middle of the race, there was a very like... The wheels started dying the most around like lap 3 and 4. That's when I think we had the most, like, I would have to rewatch it again, but I think that's when we had the most DNFs for that sort of thing. So there was like a period of deterioration that occurred a little bit later. Now, whether that's from collisions or flipping or smashing into rocks or landing awkwardly, whatever it is, it certainly happened a lot more than it would in normal races. But to be fair, this is also a bit of a different race. This is an endurance version of this race. Traditionally, we probably would have done like maybe 5 laps here. We extended that to 10. And so it made a lot of those obstacles just, that extra bit harder.
That's right. Plus, I mean, with any of our races here with the System 7, there is one variable that no racer can really account for, and that is your fellow racer. I mean, like, just because you have the perfect line doesn't mean that, like, someone else isn't going to just, like, clock you from the 9 o'clock before you make your turn. Yep. And, we've seen that before. I mean, like, to more catastrophic avail, like in the cargo chaos, you missed that. Like, when, I think it was in the highlight, when somebody was trying to cut perfectly and weave over a gap and someone just boshed them into the hole. It was, like, your fellow racer is also another obstacle that you have to keep your eyes out on. And I don't really know if these ground vehicles have a good radar, but you're gonna need to in the future, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, one of our cameras there, I think, just EMP'd everyone, so everyone is now DNF. Now, I think our leaderboard may be updated. I'm hoping to be updated. When it is, we're going to show you guys because, like I said, this is going to be a huge development. This is going to be massive. Like we said, Blackhawks, Capcom Alpha, and Drunken Turtle are going to be our top threes. All three of those teams making big waves in the top 8. Especially Blackhawks now solidifying themselves as leading the pack, and Capcom pushing themselves onto the leaderboard. Looks like we have some fighting going on. I think that might be between our cameras. A little bit of a show at the end of our race, maybe. We love to see that. So, yeah, so we'll get that up really, really soon. But like I said, an absolutely fantastic effort, and sort of within the amount of time that we were expecting it, between 40 and 50 minutes.
That's right. Of course, what you see here on this board is not indicative of the actual all the points. Everything else will be tallied by our TOs after the fact. But again, thank you everybody for participating here for race 6, the penultimate Croncy race of the System 7. And yeah, once we get all these points tallied up, man, I mean, like, again, you'd expect the grand finale, the last race, to be the show run, to be the one that is going to like be the most memorable. But I feel like, with the upsets we had here with the Lost Wheels and stuff, that is exactly what we're gonna get, Croncy.
Yeah. I also like, as always in sports, it's always cool when a little bit of a story starts happening. And, now that we've seen, last year with Amarok's Fang Blackhawks and Team Punch Buggy at the time going through, and then now we've got this Punch Nomies and Blackhawks rivalry beginning over the course of the last couple of races. I am loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. So while these points are getting updated, because we're going to try to get the leaderboard to you guys before we head off today, I want to remind you guys that we do have some merch that you can go !merch in the Twitch chat. Follow that link, get some of those cool new things that we showed you guys earlier for the System 7. And also remember that we've got the AVS 20 charity for kids, 20 for kids, flight for kids, fight or flight. Avenger 1, June 8th.
Fight for kids.
Or June 9th at like 4 a.m. if you live in Australian nightmare hours. That's going to be a great time. It's going to be a fantastic time. Once again, it's going to be our first Master Modes tournament, like our first combat tournament with Master Modes. And it's going to show a lot about what Master Modes maybe can do and what it can't do maybe. Who knows? So it's going to show us how it goes in a hyper competitive environment like that. So I'm really excited to see that. That's my favorite thing. Any game, any esport or whatever, anytime a big change happens, I'm always really excited to see what it's going to look like when you get super hyper competitive. So
true.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting one.
That's the playing ground for it.
So, yeah.
Win-win.
So Maya, how did you feel about the race in general today?
Well, you know me, Croncy. I do like it when there's explosions, but I do feel as if I didn't get to see too many explosions. We lost some wheels and that kind of thing. But I feel like this was quite the upset, and not in a bad way. I mean, an upset insofar as the story isn't over for this race and for all our racers. What was once a battle for second and third place going through into race 7 is now going to be a free for all, up for grabs for all these racers. And I think you saw me at CitizenCon last year. Right now, I'm pretty chill. Because it's quite cold over Lyria. But you saw me at CitizenCon when those space wheels came up. I might have to stand up, man. I might have to stand up when the race winners come through. It's gonna be one of those moments, I think, Croncy. But yeah,
we'll have to stage a press tour for all the winners to walk through.
We have to. But what about yourself?
I loved it. I'm a little bit disappointed that the Rover was flimsier than we were hoping for. But
True.
I love the track. I love the handling of the vehicle on the track. It's a bit awkward, but I kind of like it when it's a bit awkward. One of my favorite ground vehicles of all time was the base Cyclone before they did the rework, the ground vehicle rework. It was slidey and hard to control, and it was so much fun. It was one of my favorite vehicles to race, and the Rover has a lot of those aspects to it, so it makes it a bit interesting.
True.
But
The bouncy
in
link
the end,
is
the
interesting.
yeah, the bounciness is incredibly interesting, especially when we were seeing so many people go over all the hills, and I mean, we only had to watch Renless Malik to see how many times people were flipping over. But in general, I'm really happy. I'm happy because of the results. I'm happy because it's made probably the most exciting race 7 we've ever had for the System 7, where so many top spots are up for grabs, so many fights are there, rather than it just being the top 2 fighting or the third and fourth fighting, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's going to be huge. Someone's going to be upset next week, Maya. That's for sure.
Yep, I mean, we've called it an upset in many ways, in more ways than one, but next week, I mean, we'll see. May the best racer win, is all I have to say.
And I'm sure they will. We have the 16 best. Well, more than the 16 best with the teams that we have. It is
true.
It is kind of crazy what these guys can do.
Indeed.
All right, so we should have the leaderboard any moment, guys. Here we go. Now, reminder, these are unofficial times. We're going to confirm everything by looking at the race today, making sure that everything was above board. So all the official times will be posted on Twitter and in the Discord, which I know I've already shilled for 12 times, so make sure you join the Esports Discord. Because then you get all these updates the second they come out. But let's have a look at the leaderboard right now as we believe it to be. There we go. Blackhawks pushing ahead to first place with 89 points. Punch Nomis with that DNF in the middle of the race, still there at 83. Catcom Alpha pushing in to the podium, just ahead of Amarok's Fang now with 52 points. But look at that fight just below them. Amarok's Fang at 49, Lease Motorsports at 45. Very, very easy for them to push into the top 3, so a huge, huge fight there. Novak Racing 34, Delta Dietis 26, Argo Neves 24, and then bringing out our bottom 8, we've got Venture Origins with 19, Drunken Turtle Racing 17, Star Prime Racing 16, SPG with 13, Wild Cards with 11, Garden with 11, Eva Rio with 9, and Premier Core Colonial with 7.
All right. Once again, good luck next week, everybody, because it's going to be a fight.
Yeah. This is, like I said, this, at least for me, is the most interesting leaderboard I've seen at the end of a System 7, or towards the end of a System 7. And it's going to make for a hell of a race number 7. So, speaking of race number 7, we will see you guys in a week's time, I believe. As you know, our schedule has been pretty weird with Beacon and all this other stuff. So we'll be seeing you guys in a week's time for race number 7. The last race, not the penultimate, the ultimate race.
The ultimate.
The ultimate race of the System 7 and the Lawville Loop, where we get to see everyone try what they can do with 4 different vehicles in a little relay race, but also probably the race where our racers have the most experience for. Maya, anything you would like to say before we head off?
Just the usual. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming today and participating in the System 7. Without you guys, this would not be possible. It'll just be me and Croncy yelling at each other across the internet. And what fun is that without people to laugh at us? So, thank you, TOs. Thank you, Crucian, doing socials. Thank you, Enigmatic, who has been an amazing production manager in the back there as well. Thank you, all our camera operators. And, of course, our racers from first place through the 16th. It's not over yet. And I hope to see you guys next week, where we're going to make some true magic happen.
Yep. I everything you just said, the same, which makes my life very easy. We'll see you guys in a week's time. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for everyone behind the scenes. Thank you very much, racers. System 7, race number 7, presented by EQNX next week. We'll see you guys then.